say it, let alone. Quantum Quizzics, I barely say it, let alone know what it is. Hands-on science for inquisitive kids. It's the Spot Museum.
Taylor Nelson is with the Spot. Thanks for joining us. And Eric Savage with First Flight Education. How do you two get together on this?
Well, I'm a board member for the Spot Museum, and every month we try to have a Super Saturday where we invite a guest like Dr. Savage to come by and introduce his trade and provide some hands-on interactive exhibits, and that's why Dr. Savage is here. So.
Now the Spot, a child's museum, is located, I know one location, is it just the one at
the Gateway Mall? Right next to Dillard's, yeah.
Yes, exactly. So that's your only location.
That's
as
our
we speak.
location, yeah.
It's very interesting to walk past it because there's a myriad of things, not just for children, I mean adults are attracted to it also. Eric, First Flight Education, give us an overview of what you'll be talking about.
On Saturday we're actually going to be giving our First Flight Exploration Program, which is an introduction to flight, and we're going to introduce the kids with hands-on engaging activities, whether we're employing our Bernoulli blower, our Newton demonstrator, or our computational fluid dynamics modeler.
I know what those are. I can just,
otherwise known.
I can just describe it.
Sure. It's an electronic wind tunnel, and we're going to put all these things directly in the kids' hands, and then they're going to get into some commercial-grade ADA accessible flight simulators that we build right here in Northern Arizona.
Where is First Flight Education and what is the program?
We're actually in Flagstaff, Arizona, and we are a STEM-based company. That's science, technology, engineering, and math, and we apply these disciplines to the fields of aeronautics, specifically aeronautical engineering, flying, and air traffic control.
We have typically heard that in the United States we are falling behind the sciences of the other developed countries. Do we feel this is true? Are we catching up? Is this a misnomer, fallacy?
Well, definitely we have a lot of improvement to make, and activities like this where we can actually get the public interested and involved is really one of the ways that we can actually build up that education and get kids excited in it again.
Why do you think we have typically fallen behind in science, if this is true?
Well, I think for myself, a company like First Flight Education delivering some of these unique scientific principles in a whole new way with the new technology that's out there has allowed us to reach kids in new ways that I really didn't have when I was a kid. And I wish a company like First Flight was around when I was a child.
Yeah.
Taylor, you're a board member, as you said earlier, for the Spot. I've got some young kids, so I'm familiar with the Spot located at the Gateway Mall. And I think it was your intention to raise some money and build a separate building. How is that going?
Well, you know, every little bit helps, and so activities like this where we put on and get Dr. Savage to come out here, you know, promote that donations, and that's really what we're trying to do, is raise some money and get to a position where we can build a more stable, permanent location for our exhibits and bigger exhibits. You know, we're kind of constrained by the size of exhibits we can have based on our location there.
Of course. Programs designed to engage, excite, and enlighten grades 4 to 9. Well, I think that's good for adults too, because I venture to guess that there's a lot of adults who would learn from this demonstration and not be aware and understand some of this unless instructed by you.
We actually do have a number of inquiries from adults, and fortunately we branched off this fall. We're actually going to be offering corporate retreats for healthcare, banking, and finance industry. So the actual adults will be able to fly in the simulators themselves, learn about teamwork, leadership, decision-making, and they do enjoy it. So.
Because there'd be a lot of adults interested and would like to be in a flight sim. Now, the simulators, obviously, for an adult cannot get into one of these? Are these just for children?
We do have simulators that adults can fly, yes.
I mean, many adults would be interested in that.
Sure.
You don't have to just be a child to be interested in this.
Sure.
Again, hoping for monies to have a bigger facility. Any idea of where land? Has anybody opened their checkbook, donated a piece of land, written a check? I don't know why. I'm sure there's someone in our audience who's going to do that.
Sure, we'd be happy to talk to anybody who's willing to do that. You know, and that's why we're doing these activities. This Friday we have a science cafe starting at 6 at the Prescott Steakhouse, where we're going to invite Matt Adamson with the Biosphere Project to come out and talk about their successes and where they're planning to go in the future. And all that's kind of, one, trying to promote STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, but also raising awareness of the Spot Museum. So,
I think as you expand and get another location, I'm just reading here, inquisitive kids, I think that should be inquisitive minds. Because there's many adults, as I said, who would be very interested in this. In teaching, we really, there's a whole new way of teaching this, is it not, Harry?
Yes, there is. In fact, there's a whole new discipline that's being developed on actually using STEM and using the techniques that are coming out every year to try and drive more and more kids into these disciplines. And while we've come a long way, there's a lot more room that needs to be, a lot more work that needs to be done. So we're hoping that, we're trying to plant the seed and get these kids turned on these disciplines and perhaps turn our United States around as competing with the global economy.
What you do at First Flight Education, that's not necessarily what you see in traditional schools, is it?
No, it's not. And unfortunately, because we're still relatively new and because we're still a little different, there's a lot of individuals out there who just don't know what the acronym STEM is. So we're in the process right now of training the trainer or educating the educator to what we can offer as solutions for them in the classroom or solutions for them during summer school and summer programs.
Gentlemen, do we think what we see on TV today, many times I say something on the show, and obviously I've watched too much TV, but what we see on TV today, the special effects, the quantum physics, all the shows centered around this, does this pique children's inquisitive minds on this and your interest?
It does, if you can present it in the right way, if you can get them hands-on and have them, experimenting with these things. At the spot, I don't come from a science type background, and so when I was approached to be on the board, I went down there with my kids. I have 3 kids. And I sat there for 2 hours, with my kids, and we just interact with all the gears and doing all these things, and that's how we can get people involved and interested again.
I think the movies and TV interest people and piques their interest, the children, but then you bring it into the real world, obviously. Saturday the 19th, 9:30 a.m.?
That's right, for the Super Saturday, and then May 18th at 6 o'clock at the Prescott State House for the Biosphere presentation.
Excellent.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Located inside the Gateway Mall.
Yes.
Thank you all for joining us. Appreciate you coming in.